The Rochester Press Box is brought to you by Salvatore's at the Garage Door on 49 Ridge Road East in Irondequoit. Rochester's Choice winner for Best Pizzeria, featuring Wacky Wing Wednesday, John Ditullio Trivia on Thursday, and the Super Slice. It's as big as your head. Games are always on at the Garage Door, home to the Rochester Press Box. Hello everyone and welcome to the Rochester Press Box here from Salvatore's Pizzeria at the historic Garage Door Restaurant at 149 East Ridge Road. I'm Bill Pucko, joining me as always, John Ditullio from WHTK, Mike Catalana from 13 WHAM News.
Good to be back.
And JC DeLass is with us from WYSL. Look, this week, Bo Pelini got Linda tripped. Remember Linda Tripp from the Monica Lewinsky thing, recording clandestinely? Anyway, Bo Pelini, probably 2 years after the fact, gets caught saying some things perhaps he shouldn't have, and it becomes public. Look, how far over the line is that, JC?
Well, a couple things about it, Billy. First of all, the recording, it actually happened 2 years ago. So the person that finally did put this out on the website, Deadspin.com, they obviously were looking to get him fired. He's coming off a crushing loss. They may still get him fired. The problem is we now live in a live microphone society. Smartphones, camera phones, all that stuff. You have to live your life, especially when you're a person like that. Head coach in Nebraska is a pretty high-profile gig. You have to live your life like the microphone is always on. Now, again, he thought he was in a secure environment, surrounded by friends in a separate room. Doesn't matter. You got to watch what you say at all times. And, he comes out and he apologizes now, and maybe he'll be able to make some recovery there amongst the Nebraska fans. But at the end of the day, what he said is not that all unusual, where a lot of other coaches have said the same kind of thing. They just didn't get caught on the microphone.
If Nick Saban says it, he's fine because he's winning. He's winning championships, winning games, and Alabama fans would forgive old Nick because, well, he was probably just a little upset. We won the game anyhow, whatever it is. Bo Pelini is under a lot of pressure there. I hate this story. I hate the fact that it came out 2 years later. He's venting like every one of us have done at one time or another. But to JC's point, he got caught. Does he have to be more aware? Absolutely. Yeah. It's still something just seems dirty about the whole thing.
Had they held on to beat UCLA, this probably isn't a big story. The fact that they got blitzed in that game, the fact they gave up 70 points last year in the Big Ten championship. Listen, he's having a hard time recruiting. They left the Big 12. Now they're in the Big Ten, so he's not getting the Texas kids. He's not winning Big 12 championships. He's known for defense. Aside from throwing Tommy Frazier under the bus in that little rant, which is probably the iconic figure. It makes Tom Osborne look bad. If anybody looks bad, it's Tom Osborne. Osborne hired Bo Pelini. Yeah. Osborne is the John Wooden of Nebraska football, man. Everybody's compared to Tom Osborne.
And I think Pelini made a mistake when he called the fans fair weather. Because I think you'd agree that Nebraska fans are more delusional than fair weather.
They're pretty hardcore fans.
They still think they're like a national power,
they're
right?
They're not anymore. The days of Nebraska competing for national championships appear to be over, at least for now.
I don't get how they ever did it in the first place. I mean, it's Nebraska, the recruiting base. But beyond that, it always gets me, the dichotomy of the situation. John says something that he shouldn't have. JC repeats it.
Yeah.
You have no responsibility for it whatsoever, and you run with it. And he's taking all the heat.
I have no culpability in the situation.
Yeah,
all I'm doing is reporting what I heard. And that's the same thing as secret recording. That person just washes their hands and say, hey, I just thought you should know. Well, why do you are now the arbiter of what we should all know? Some things you don't need to know. Did we really need to hear that recording? But as Mike said, it came after a lot where they blew a huge lead. If they win that game, the timing doesn't matter, and the recording doesn't come out then. They save it for another game.
Well, and your favorite topic, ESPN. If ESPN doesn't show that, it goes nowhere. No one cares that Deadspin's doing this.
It's like it used to be in national politics where no one would pay attention to certain sites in certain places or certain magazines, National Enquirer. Then all of a sudden, it starts to become like, oh, and then a quote, reputable source picks it up, and then everybody runs with it. And we're all in this position in different ways. Where's the line that you draw? Because people are going to end up talking about it. It's all over social media, and a place like ESPN, to your point, they didn't create it. They're just reporting what someone else did.
I hope he doesn't lose his job. Listen, if they lose 4 or 5 games, he may lose his job. But I think that's a 9-10 win team. Maybe more.
All right. Well, as an old Nebraska fan, I kind of hope so. This is the Rochester Press Box from Salvatore's Pizzeria at the historic Garage Door Restaurant. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, here from Salvatore's Pizzeria at the historic Garage Door Restaurant, Ridge Road in Irondequoit. Also the home of Wacky Wing Wednesdays. All right, you can get reduced chicken wings with a purchase of a pitcher of beer, and the Magic Guys here from 5:30 to 7:30 on Wednesdays. E.J. Manuel, Mike, what do you think?
I like him, and I said the same thing after week 1. I liked a lot of what he did, and I just take it for what it is. It's 1 week. Last week, I thought for a lot of the game, he looked more like a rookie than he did in the first week. He came through at the end. I'm not overreacting to that last drive. I think it was great that he got a touchdown. He made a lot of mistakes on that last drive. He threw the ball over the middle way too much. Again, he's young, but I hear people talking about him like the Bills have their Tom Brady to win games at the end. I'm telling you, week to week. If a few of those bad decisions, in my opinion, throwing it over the middle, are actually caught, I think the clock runs out on him and the Bills are dead. If the interception stands, it was a poor pass. I'm not trying to be so negative, because you guys know I like him, and I like him long term. I just relax on the short term a little bit on EJ. I love what Marone said. Is he arrived yet? No. I think he said it 6 times.
Yeah, how can you ask that question?
It's a long way off. I like it long term. I'm still very wary short term.
I didn't like the question. Has he arrived yet? Really? As Mike mentioned, I thought he took a step back until the final drive. He did make a couple of plays where he avoided the rush, kept his balance. Fred Jackson bailed him out by dropping that ball on purpose, which would have ate up about 20 more seconds
That's the
on the clock.
smartest football play you've ever seen.
Maybe. Absolutely.
So he did it on purpose.
He says.
I know he
He
says.
says.
I love Fred, but okay.
Maybe. But, listen, that was for him to engineer that drive. Huge for not only for that team, but for Manuel and for Marone, as they are hitched together.
And the calmness that he shows.
Yeah.
And I go back to that. I love that about him. I think that'll serve him well long term. He was fortunate on that last drive.
He was, no doubt.
Couple things about him that you can't teach: size,
Oh, yeah.
speed, gets outside, gets out of bounds, smart thing. But let's keep this in mind. That was a dicey pass interference call on Stevie at the end. And if that game isn't in Buffalo, maybe that call doesn't get made. And I'm going to tell you this. I like E.J. Manuel. He's not even the best rookie on this Buffalo Bills team. That Kiko Alonso, love that guy. Linebacker, he's what that team's been missing. A linebacker that can hit people, make plays.
So we had fans leaving early. Do we make anything of the fact that a lot of people missed the end of that
In
game?
the Super Bowl years, Billy, they did that too. That's Buffalo. You got to get
I don't
out.
know.
It's
It's
traffic.
not just
It's all that
Buffalo.
nonsense.
People do that all over the
any
place.
game.
You be places and just all of a sudden you see people leaving. And I'm not talking about where they think the team has no chance. I've seen games where they've tied it. At the end of the game, it's going to go to overtime and people are leaving.
I don't get it. You go to the game and you leave early to beat traffic. If I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah.
And as Bills fans may just be conditioned over the last X amount of years to bolt early.
That they're not going to do it.
That they're
Right.
not going to win this football game.
It's a pretty pricey ticket to bail on, isn't it?
I'm staying.
How much time? And you are saving time, and maybe for whatever reason. That's people's own prerogative. They can do what they
I
want.
guess.
But it doesn't just go on in Buffalo. It goes on in a lot of
that's
places.
It's unfortunate.
You know, if it was to me, and I remember I used to do this, you have a tailgate prepared for the end of the game. I think that helps a lot. For
Yeah.
advice, no
I'm
chance.
ready to go.
You've been to a Bills game lately. People are tailgated out by the end of that game.
Yeah.
I think everybody's had
Yeah, but
more than enough.
that's a whole different issue.
I
I'm
know
not
it is,
saying you
but-
need 20 beers.
No, I'm just saying. Maybe it's time to get out of there before the crowd. You know, might be
This
it.
is the Rochester Press Box from Salvatore's Pizzeria at the historic Garage Door Restaurant on Ridge Road. Like it or not, we'll be back. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box here from Salvatore's Pizzeria at the historic Garage Door Restaurant. We're on Thursday nights. John Ditullio.
Sports trivia.
7 to 8 o'clock.
You got
like
it.
it or not, John, the Jags and 19 and a half
Hey,
points at
what is
Seattle.
this, college football? I mean, what is this, Alabama against Sam Houston? I mean, there's no way in professional sports and professional football team should ever be favored by 20 points. This shows you how lousy the Jaguars are. Now, but By saying that, I'm betting the Jaguars. Pride. The fact that I'm a 19.5-point underdog, I'm going to go out west. I'm going to play a heck of a football game. Only the fact that I'm a 20-point underdog. It's embarrassing.
Who you guys got?
Oh, I got Jacksonville in the points. I think Seattle's coming off that big emotional win. I think they'll cruise through the game and win it comfortably. But it's not that hard to get a cosmetic touchdown at the end to cover that spread. They could be down by 23 and score when Seattle puts their backups in. I'll take Jacksonville. But it also highlights they are, without question, the irrelevant franchise in the NFL.
Terrible.
Jacksonville.
Penn State's a 19.5-point favorite against Kent State. Jacksonville's a 19.5-point underdog to Seattle. It's a joke.
I got some stats. That becomes the 10th longest point spread in NFL history, I think, dating back to the merger. The biggest was in 1976, that Tampa Bay team that didn't win a game. At home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was a 27-point favorite and covered 42-0. The next 8 all failed to cover the spread. 3 of those were New England. Just, stats.
Okay.
Jacksonville looks like a sucker bet this week. Mike, like it or not, obsolete huddles in the NFL.
I love it. I think this is more exciting for fans. Let's face it, so much goes on at the line of scrimmage anyhow, and there's so many different ways you can go no huddle. You can hurry up. You can do like the Bengals used to do. They called it the mush huddle or whatever it was, where you can waste time. We've watched Peyton Manning do that for several years, where he basically, even if they did quickly huddle, he comes out and runs everything there. I like it. I think teams are going to need to adjust. We saw the Eagles last week not adjust enough. You can still go no huddle and use clock. I think that's more of the issue, that things go on right at the line of scrimmage. But I love it. The huddle is a boring part of the NFL where everybody is just sitting there waiting for them to come out. I think it's the trend now. I think it's going to maintain itself. I don't think it's going to change.
Football's always been a copycat sport more than any other sport. And as Mike said, a lot of what used to happen in the huddle now, they just make those calls in that kind of loose grouping, or even when they get up to the line, they identify the mic, who's the middle linebacker, okay, you got that guy, you got that guy. For me, fast pace, more interesting, more exciting, and as Chip Kelly's showing, if you can run a lot of plays, you got a chance to score a lot of points, and no matter how bad your defense is, you may outscore somebody.
You can talk to your quarterback. I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner. The coach, get the play in quicker and relay it, and you don't even need a huddle now. If you think about it, I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner.
They seem so old-fashioned. I wonder if somewhere along the line we don't see the play clock diminished. I mean, from where it is, and make them go faster.
It could, but there is ways to do that and use the play clock effectively. Sure. And we've seen teams either do that well or not do it. The Eagles-Chargers game, perfect example of that. San Diego would come out and waste that time at the line of scrimmage, work to their benefit. The Eagles did everything fast. It worked out better for the Chargers.
I thought that looked silly because out of the Patriots-Jets game that was on Thursday night, Brady, late in the game, Brady brings his team to the line of scrimmage. There's 20 seconds left on the play clock, and they just stand there.
Yeah, well, that tells you a little bit about how bad that New England offense has been. I mean, it really has been, where they were having to run the clock down to just survive against the Jets. That team's got a lot of.
They could be 0-2 had they been playing anybody but the Bills and Jets, Patriots.
Look, I know it comes up later, but JC, our first non-football issue of the day, like it or not, Ron Gardenhire returning as the manager of the Minnesota Twins next year.
Well, I mean, I like it because I look at what he had to work with this year. Maybe the worst starting pitching staff in all of baseball. I mean, Vance Worley was their ace, and he ended up finishing the year in Rochester. So what's that tell you about what he had to work with? But I tell you what, if he doesn't come back next year, it'll probably be more his choice than the team's, because Terry Ryan, the general manager, very close relationship with Ron Gardenhire. I'll make an early call who the next manager of the Twins will be. They got him in the organization right now, Paul Molitor. They love Paul Molitor.
I was going to think Tom Bernansky maybe.
Bernansky, not so much a manager. He's an excellent hitting coach, and he loves that, and he also has a son who's playing, and I'm not sure that he'd want to take that next step up to manager.
The other thing I was going to say is it reminds me of Lindy Ruff with the Sabres a little bit. Maybe it's time for everybody concerned that they go in a different direction.
Well, I've heard Gardenhire's name brought up as a possible guy in New York with the Mets.
He played for the Mets, would make sense. They got a good nuclear. Twins are maybe where the Pirates were maybe about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. A couple years away.
The Twins in a couple years can be really good.
All right, we'll get a chance to talk baseball playoffs in a succeeding week here. This is the Rochester Press Box from Salvatore's at the Garage Door. Unfinished Business is next. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box here from Salvatore's Pizzeria at the historic Garage Door. Unfinished Business. John, start us off.
I'm here to be the voice of reason for Steeler fans. I know they're all panicking down in the Steel City. The terrible towels are being thrown away. Stay the course. If any NFL franchise has proven that they can reboot year after year, decade after decade. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since 1970, they have 8 losing seasons. The Bills are in the midst of 8 consecutive losing seasons. I know the Steelers, they look a little outdated. Todd Haley, to me, is a bad fit for Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. I know they've got injuries. I believe in Dan Rooney. I believe in Kevin Colbert, their GM. Ben Roethlisberger, although he may look 50, is still only in his 10th year, still has plenty of football, and their defense is still the steel curtain. Don't worry. Pittsburgh may not make the playoffs this year, but let me tell you something. Everything is okay in the Steel City.
What's wrong with 50? Really?
Moves around. I tell you about has he ate? I mean, he's taken so many shots, the Steelers. It's just odd to see that team can't run the ball, can't throw the ball downfield, and if Roethlisberger's ad-libbing, they're done.
And I give him credit for one thing. There are many times when Roethlisberger could just get rid of it, throw it away. He hangs in there and takes a beating to try to make a play.
He does.
And he doesn't have guys to make plays.
It's nothing the 60 won't fix, by the way.
Yeah.
JC.
2 weeks ago, my oldest daughter got her driver's permit. So now I'm in the passenger seat. White knuckle ride, right? Taking the turns too fast. Slow down, slow down. But while all that's going on, I'm looking out the window from a different side. I'm seeing, hey, leaves are turning. It's fall. Baseball playoffs are coming. Baseball's regular season, in case you haven't heard, it ends in a week. But nobody's talking about the upcoming baseball playoffs because the NFL, as we know, has become a 12-month-a-year league. It's become a 7-day-a-week story, and the baseball gets pushed to the back. But there have been some great stories this year that people I just don't think are focusing on. Red Sox, tremendous comeback here with John Farrell. How about the Cleveland Indians? They got a shot at the playoffs. Nationally, Pittsburgh Pirates have a chance to be meaningful for the first time since Barry Bonds was running around in the gold and the black, and Sid Bream was struggling to get around third and get home. That's the last time the Pirates met something. I can't wait for the baseball playoffs. I think this year is going to be very interesting. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are going to miss the story because they're not thinking about baseball. That's because of the NFL.
Yeah, I want to see that Terry Francona Boston Red Sox series.
Yeah.
Great series.
Give me Dodgers Sox World Series.
I'm impressed you could look out the window while your daughter was driving.
Mike, you know what that's called, Mike? That's going to take your mind off of the impending doom that's coming your
I've
way.
had a part in that play.
And to your point, if Michael goes football, and I think he's going to, this show is probably 90% football.
I'm not going football. I'm going golf. And I'm listening to Tim Fincham this week talk about maybe changing some of the rules and some of the ways viewers at home, you can call in and have an impact on golf tournaments. Look, a lot of it's made to be a big deal because it usually involves Tiger Woods. And I'm all for someone noticing a violation of the rules, as in dropped in the wrong spot, and maybe that's brought to somebody's attention, and if a player does that incorrectly, it's a violation. But we're getting to the point now where we have super slow-mo on the ball to see it move and then calling that as a violation on the player, or at least bringing it to their attention. You're supposed to call it on yourself. There's no way a golfer in most cases can see that type of movement. And then to have the super slow-mo and the guy at home on his HD TV have an impact on the golf, I think is gone way past where that should be. Blatant or obvious rule violations, improper drops, that type of thing should be called on the players from any possible source. But some of the stuff, and to Tiger's defense, if I get defend him a little bit, every shot he takes as a professional is seen on television.
You got it.
There are many camera angles. So he's at a disadvantage there, but some of it just needs to relax a little bit. Watch the golf, enjoy it. Don't worry about being a rules guy or seeing that the ball moved. Cut it back, and I hope pro golf backs away a little bit.
They
from
should
those
let
rules.
us make pass interference calls in NFL games.
That's right.
Don't
They
they
should
do
allow
that already?
They should allow the Wisconsin fans to call in for that Arizona State finish.
A whole nother issue.
Another homer job there.
Hey, names that work. I got a kid named Jordan Blocker, who's an offensive lineman for the Brockport High School football team. We got a chance to meet him this week for a story that you'll see on the Vision High School Sports Beat in a couple of weeks. 3 weeks earlier, Jordan was caught at an odd angle in a scrimmage at Greece Olympia and got knocked semi-unconscious on the football field. He had feeling in his arms and his legs, but there was a tingling sensation. So Blocker found himself in a neck brace, strapped to a board, and carried to an ambulance where he was taken to a hospital immediately. 3 weeks later, short of it, is that Blocker's okay and he's getting ready to play. The coach tells me, and I think we've seen this, 10 years ago, this kid probably wouldn't have played anymore in the scrimmage, but we sat him on the sideline, wait for his headache to go away, make sure the feeling returned in his hands, and he'd have been on the football field that very first game of the season. The concussion issue has been big in the NFL. it's had a ripple effect. And the nice part about it, maybe the best part about that, is that we're all taking better care of our kids now on the football field. The Rochester Press Box is recorded every Wednesday afternoon, lunchtime, 12:30 here at Salvatore's Pizzeria at the garage door on East Ridge Road in Irondequoit. We invite you to come down, have lunch with us. We'd love to see you. John,
Billy?
Mike,
Thank you.
JC, thanks very much. We'll see you again next week.